Well, Siobhan joins us now live from Marseille, and our correspondent Tom Parmenter is not far from me here in Paris. Tom, to you first of all, what is the situation where you are down near the Arc de Triomphe?
Well, there's hundreds upon hundreds of riot police officers on the streets tonight, some 45,000 across France, but here in the capital it's very tense indeed on the Champs-Elysees. If we just walk down a little bit, you can see the lines of police that have been moving up and down. They had hundreds upon hundreds of young people predominantly who were gathered along the Champs-Elysees. There was a lot of talk earlier today that this is where they would congregate to create disorder, and the police are here in massive numbers. We've seen officers there just walking along with tear gas canisters primed and ready to be deployed if they choose to. Also officers with non-lethal firearms here. It is a very uneasy atmosphere, as we've seen across France in so many urban centres, but here in Paris tonight it does feel very tense. 37 arrests so far just on the Champs-Elysees, of course one of the most famous shopping streets in the world, and the police have been sharing images of things they've been confiscating from people who have been congregating down here tonight, and that includes petrol bombs, includes knuckle dusters and a catapult that the police have seized. And the officers that we've been speaking to on the ground have described the situation as electric, and they just don't know where the trouble will come, but they are very confident that it will come. And you can see them moving down along the Champs-Elysees with us live here on Sky News tonight, and it is a very fluid situation. No major disorder from what we've seen so far in Paris tonight, but it is a very tense situation, and the pattern and the cycle of violence that we've seen over the last 4 nights, it seems almost inevitable here that will continue.
OK, Tom, thanks very much for that. Let's return to Siobhan, who is in Marseille, and there has been a certain amount of disturbance there already this evening, hasn't there, Siobhan? And there's a slightly different demographic in Marseille as well. What is the latest?
Yes, so in the last half an hour or so, we've seen a real uptick in the amount of tear gas being used by the police. The tactic here essentially seems to be that they fire in a load of tear gas, the protesters run up the street, they regroup, they do it again, and every time they're hoping fewer and fewer people basically are taking part in these protests. Now, if you can see the lights down the back behind me, I've just moved a bit further down the street just to talk to you, because there has been a little bit of hostility towards certainly one journalist today. We saw someone being beaten up, so we've just moved away now. But where those lights are is basically the front line of the police. It's on an intersection, and then so the protesters are coming up and down. The kinds of things we've been seeing going on today, no particular looting, which is what the police have been trying to avoid. Instead, we've seen bins being set on fire, protesters smashing up a tram stop. We've seen also them pulling out signs as well, but the police really seem to be on top of this tonight. I was told by someone who was here last night that they believe there's about double the amount of police here, and we've seen some quite high-level police units here as well. So they've sent in a unit, for example, that's often used to negotiate with people who've taken victims and kidnapped victims, so very high-level police. But at the moment, from where I'm standing, it seems like the police seem to be winning this battle tonight. They definitely seem to be dispersing those protesters, and what we aren't seeing is the scenes that were happening here last night, which was many shops being smashed up, being looted, and essentially what shop owners were saying was protesters, looters running amok in this city with very little pushback. It seemed like from shop owners' point of view they weren't being under control, but tonight a very different scene. And as I was saying, from my point of view, it seems at the moment the police are winning this fight, but it is a very fluid situation.